Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. You've already seen the thumbnail. I have designed myself a tank engine based on the vintage steam locomotive set, and I'm deciding I'm going to power this with a circuit cube motor, but I don't have any motors left. However, I am planning on upgrading the electronics which are inside my 5700 class, so I'm going to be taking the circuit cube motors out of this one and placing them into this one. So let's start doing a bit of a breakdown and go over the actual tank engine model that I've made as well. So before we start trying to get that motor and circuit cube into this model, let's have a quick overview of some of the things that I've done to make it. So they are pretty simple and straightforward. First one is that the rear of the locomotive has been extended by 2 studs, and this gives me the capacity I need to hold the coal bunker at the back. It's very thin and not particularly huge coal bunker. It's just a couple of inverted slopes running across to give that sense of the coal storage there. And I've currently just got a flat plate going across as well for the actual load, but that's going to be changed out for cheese slopes in black eventually to give a more undulating look. I like the cheese slopes being used for coal loads, so that's what I'm going to do with that there. I've also added some steps down here so that the cab is more accessible, and I've kept the curved brick slope things. They've been kept as to keep that look that we had originally as well. And the really obvious one though is that the tank is now much bigger than it was before, and I've also added these little filler caps on top as well using some brackets and curved plates. The firebox, like on the other loco, has been raised up so that it's in line with the boiler so that it makes more sense. I've also got a taller dome, and I've gone with the skinny chimney, same as I've done on my modified version of the loco as well. I think that these look much better, and again, these are just using those standard wheel axles from kind of the older Lego sets. So there we go, that is what's holding those on, and I think it looks really quite charming with that big tall dome now as well. Let's see what else is going on. Oh yeah, I've removed the brick-built front end as well, and instead I've now got this standard magnetic coupler because I want this loco to be able to pull and push things around, so it made sense to have the buffers on each end. And lastly, I just wanted to address on the wheel sets. So I need to fit a motor in here somewhere, and I definitely want axles going across so that these wheels are properly quartered. A few people said that on my other locomotive, quartering the wheels has made it so that this will not run as well, and the wheels will just bind up in corners. And kind of yes and kind of no. See, the problem is if I grab my other locomotive, so here is the engine from the set that I modified originally. These wheels have been properly quartered, and they've got axles running through. So when this one's facing down, if we turn it around, you can see this is a quarter turn out of sync. And what that means is that anywhere on this loco, if I flick the wheels, they will move, and it will move the ones behind as well, and they will always stay in sync with each other. The connection rod is pushing those wheels around, and it's transferring power evenly. So if these are powered, it really helps to make this a 6-wheel drive loco. However, contrast that to Lego's method of doing things. When all four wheels are in contact, because the blinds don't make any contact to the ground, when they're all in contact, this is fine and they will move. However, not all track is made equal and even, especially when you put it into a garden. So if I move just one of these wheels, very quickly you can see that it binds up. And that means that on track like mine, which is outside, if I end up on an undulating bit of track and I end up with loss of contact with that wheel, I'm going to end up with a locomotive that's binding up and getting stuck wheels. And it will still keep moving. It'll just get pushed around until it finally manages to sort itself out. Either this wheel loses traction and comes down, or the front wheel gains traction and catches up. But ultimately, I think it looks really naff when that happens. And that is why I have put my wheels together with proper quartering in place to make sure that they're always moving in sync with each other. Right, so that's my rant about quartering out of the way. Let's take a little bit of a look behind the new massive tanks which are on the side. And as you can see, there is not really a huge amount that has changed from the original build of the locomotive. So what I need to update is this chassis area. As I said before, I need to get the motor to sit in here. So let's just pull these wheels off and have a quick look behind them. So I've got to get a circuit cube motor in here and have it avoid hopefully as much of the other parts as possible. The beams running across here are quite integral to the stability of the build itself. However, I don't think that anything goes beyond these back plates. Like the tanks here, they don't go any further back than these studs. So I could move these beams further out, probably need to be a bit shorter, and I'll give myself some more room in there. I will have to address where the boiler is attaching, but that could create me a nice area in here in which to work. As far as the actual brains of the outfit, the cube itself it needs to go in, I did originally think about whether I could get it to be in where the firebox is and whether that would work, but because the top is where you plug in all of the electronics, I think that we're not going to have enough height to do that. So that is probably going to end up going in the cab, so I'll make some room inside the cab for this to sit in there instead. So those are the plans that I have to do this. The first thing that I need to do though is now strip down my pannier tank, which is going to get some upgrades later, but for now I'm just going to pull the motor out of it and the gearing that I want and the cable. So I'm going to go do that next, and then we will move on with trying to shoehorn it into here instead. Right, it's time to do the actual motor extraction now. So I've removed all of the plates. Oh, I've got loose gears which are still floating around. The motor in here is just literally held by these two bricks, which are using, there we go, the holes on the side. Oh, sorry, these 3 bricks apparently, I've made it very secure. So these are just using snot bricks to hold the motor in place. So we're going to take that entire setup. Oh, I've got this way out of frame. We're going to take this entire setup. So there we go, there's the snot bricks in case you didn't see that. This entire thing is now going to get transported or transplanted into that other locomotive. And the pannier tank, which is now, poor thing, in pieces, is going to get put to one side as this is getting some different electronics put in it, hopefully for the next show that I'm doing in Exeter this July. Okay, it's time to start the main procedure. So I'm going to begin by removing all the components that I can off of this. Keep as much in a bulky state as I can. These wheels obviously making it very difficult right now. So they're all going to come off. And we'll take off the boiler. Hopefully it comes off in one go. The firebox is now next. And then we have the whole back end for the cab. We still have a little liquor flame there that'll come off as well. So we need to now get this motor in here so that it interacts, cogs in with the axles. And previously I've had this as a direct drive, but I don't think that's going to work in this case. So I might need to remove this setup and then sit this on top. That's my kind of idea currently. So I want, I think, to try and drive this central wheel set. So I'm going to get an axle on there, get some cogs in place, and we're going to make sure that we leave this gap here for the boiler to sit on. So that's what we're going to try and work with now, I think. So after much pondering and scratching my head, this is the motor solution that I have come up with. So I have the circuit cube motor still offset slightly to drive the front axle. I couldn't get it to drive the middle. The middle axles are going to be just on these pins still, so that they're not going to be powered, and then we'll have the rear axle will be fixed. So the middle axle is going to be kept in check by the connecting rods. I've then built up next to the motor, and because the motor itself, I'll grab a brick separator, because the motor itself is offset, I've had to use some jumper tiles there so that I can get these parts on top so that then I can run some plates across the top to connect it in, because currently the motor's only got the one set of pins on it going into the side, because I have to have room for the hole to be able to connect the wheels. So it's a little bit more fragile than I'd like it to be currently. On the bottom, I will put some jumper plates, the 1x4 plates with a stud at each end. They will go under here just to brace the bottom of the motor. And then obviously I'm going to have a plate across the top here which will lock that motor in. And I think then that will be fine. Now this is the same length as the Technic bricks, which are going to be coming out. So this Technic brick will come out and that will go in place. And then I'll get this to the same level as what this brick here is. And then I'll extend that brick over. The wire is going to come up through the middle and through the firebox, and that's how it's going to get into the cab. So that is the motor setup that I've got. It's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's not going to be a really fast locomotive, but I'm fine with that. I just want it to be able to move at the moment. So that is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to now work on getting this into there, and then hopefully we'll be a little bit closer to getting this working and running on the railway. Okay, there was some finessing and faff going on there. I've had to remove these stepped pieces from the front as they were going to foul the gearing, but it now, after a little bit of faffing around, we've got the locomotive pretty much together. The long single run of beam has obviously had to be removed, and I've got this plate which now runs in place for where it would be, and they now have the boiler attached. So I think that means everything's going to work out all right. So the last thing I need to sort out is routing this cable up and in through the cab here, over there. So I need to get that cable up and in through the cab, and also I need to get the circuit cube itself situated in the cab as well. So that's what I'm going to do next. The thing that might be a nuisance is the smoke box here. The firebox might be a little bit of a pain. So I'm going to try and create more of a gap in the firebox at the bottom here so that the cable can run up and through. And then I was thinking, when that's in place, this cable could come up here, maneuver it up there, and then the firebox is there, and then the cable can run through the firebox door and into the cab. So that is what I'm going to try and set up, and hopefully it won't be that much longer until we can take this outside and give it a run around in the garden. So I have got all of that put together. The cable is now coming up and through where the firebox was. I've removed these pieces out entirely. I might need to put a, this in view, the 1x2 plate up at the top here just to help fill the gap, so you can't see the gap from the front here quite so much. But the circuit cube is going to just sit on some tiles in there. That cable's going to tuck in. I have my rear section, which I'll probably pull off every time I want to get to the circuit cube. And you see I've done that coal on the back, so that can now just sit on there. Then I'll add a roof. I've now got a circuit cube powered locomotive. So I'm going to get the wheels on this and we'll give it a test run and see how it goes. Well, there we go. That's it. The build's finished. Everything's hidden away nicely. The locomotive is all together. I might change out here for a red brick and a green brick rather than the large plate panel that was being used. Other than that, this locomotive is complete, and it has the circuit cube in and is operating as expected. So I need to get this out onto the railway outside now, I think, and give it something to pull. So I'm going to grab the modified coaches that I made, and we're going to let this one try going around the garden. well, I think that we can all agree that that is a resounding success. Let me know in the comments below if there is anything that you would have done differently for the look of the locomotive or how it functions. Right now, I'm going to enjoy watching this go around. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more LEGO train related content. Until next time, I'll see you later.
Catching a breeze, love moving through me like